I'm right back with another video. It is Friday, November 29th, 1:42 p.m. And I'm just kind of doing my household chores. Just got done eating some lunch and been doing some thinking, of course, about my issue. And I'm doing mental techniques to try to get myself back on track because, I've already talked about the trauma and all this stuff. But I was thinking about fanaticism today. That was the word in the back of my mind. It was fanaticism. The people who kind of go overboard with whether that be religion or politics, where they end up committing crimes, such as what I experienced with my previous ex-family members. Some that I was blood relations to, some that I hardly knew or probably never even seen before, kind of spiraled and snowballed into this big mess, all because, of my ex-family. And I know, the thing is that they probably thought they had a righteous cause because, I had come here about almost 20 years ago. It's close to 20 years. Anyway, I had met my ex-husband and I had lied about, my background, but I didn't realize we were going to end up getting married. Okay, so I told a little white lie, and then I ended up getting together with him. I don't know how my family got involved with Joel's family. I don't really know. But anyway, this is this kind of environment, and it's very white supremacist type behavior. I'm not saying everybody's like that. I've met some decent people, but there were some people who took offense to it, and it doesn't go any further than that. That was it's But apparently, I believe that my ex-husband and my ex-mother-in-law, who I barely really didn't know very well, I believe these two were together. They were together. Okay, I knew they were together, but I'm not sure if they were together when I first met him because I never saw anything to indicate that, other than the fact that he was living with his mom, which in my mind it was like, well, a lot of people live with their parents. A lot of people do. That doesn't necessarily mean that a sexual relationship was going on. I had no idea, but I'm sure that his mother probably said that I broke them up or something. In their house, there's like little scrapbooks and family albums and pictures on the wall that shows that this was a family, like families that went to, camping, not camping trips, but, family type trips together. So I only knew at that time of them as being mother and son. I would never think of something like that. I thought that she adopted him. Whatever. The whole story is, I don't know exactly when my ex-brother-in-law came moving on in or whatever. But that's it. So people thought just because of this, okay, that I must have been like this terrible, horrible person. When in fact, when you look at the situation, it was completely reversed, So I think a lot of people got wrapped up into the racial aspect of it. And then the fact that they brought the religion issue into it. But what's funny about this issue is that it showed the true colors of everybody who really got involved. And everybody got involved for their own selfish reasons. I think fanaticism is, it's an indication of a very weak-minded person. And who's to say? I know I had an interest in the Jehovah's Witness religion when I was younger. And I don't know if I was heading toward fanaticism, but I'm a very dedicated person when it comes to things that I believe in, my convictions, my strong convictions, when I know something's right. When I know something's right. But see, at 14 years old, I believed that this particular religion may not have been like right, but I respected the fact that it was trying to be on this particular path. But I'm not sure if I would have ever been like a fanatic. Now, there were certain times where I've taken a stance on something that I felt like, no, I'm not going to compromise my particular belief or whatever. And I took a stand on certain things like that, and I am like that. I will take a stand on things that are important, but I do not wreak havoc in the lives of other people. I do not impose my views on other people. I do not get narcissistic and think that I have rights over other people. So what this snowballed into is something that is a very sick and twisted thing. Apparently, these people share a very common bond. Like I'm referring to my ex family, blood relations, and Joel's family, my ex husband's family. They must share a common bond. I'm not sure exactly who's close to who. Like, I'm sure my ex brother in law, Jim Culligan, probably has a relationship with maybe, I'm assuming perhaps maybe Callie Gardner or not. I don't know. Okay. And if I'm mentioning her name and, she's innocent in all this, please forgive me. But the reason why I'm talking about these sort of things, I really don't want to mention anyone's name anymore because I feel as though I've said everything I could say. But their common bond was probably built on racism. Okay. Now, as you know, my brother-in-law, ex-brother-in-law, was married to my sister. Now, what allowed her to do this and just sit back and watch this shit happen, she also had her own reasons for doing it. Okay. My ex-sister, is very fanatical. Why? Because I think, I'm really looking back on how it was when I was growing up. We were pretty much raised in an all-white community, okay? And, we didn't have, I met little friends, playmates and stuff like that, but you don't really assimilate as well with white kids. You don't, okay? Sometimes you might meet one and you click with them, but for the most part, you're kind of whatever. So I kind of just grew into my own person. You know what I mean? But we always wanted to have friends, and we were lucky to have, I remember meeting some friends when I was younger. But still, it's this issue of assimilation. Well, one thing that people can kind of agree or come together on is usually religion. So my sister gravitates towards church activities, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem with it is that these church activities are not just activities for her. They become a sense of belonging, a sense of identification. It's not really about, being a godly person or trying to strive into the footsteps of Jesus Christ. It's more about bullying, mistreating someone, gaining status, developing prosperity. I'm talking about actual monetary gains here. And then using religion as an excuse or mask to hide their real intentions. You see what I'm saying? So when everyone had their reasons. So maybe, Jim Culligan had his reasons. And sorry if I keep mentioning names, but this is a mental dump, okay? Because, I think about this all the time. He had his reasons. His reasons was perhaps maybe in his mind, me growing up, having a different idea of a religion than he did, feeling I had more questions and he couldn't give them to me. He just wasn't on my path. And he resented me for that, which is I'm starting to find out now, okay? Which I really never thought that deeply about it, okay? But obviously he's been brewing about this for years. So then he comes and stirs up trouble because he's upset that I don't agree with him. And all these years, he was the last thing on my mind, okay? I really didn't think about it. But still, also the very fact that in his world, how he views things, okay, men are very dominating towards women, and so it kind of snowballed from there, okay? But it's his fanaticism, his choice to live that sort of life structure. Not all Christian men dominate women like that or mistreat them in that manner. But, some do, and it doesn't make sense to him that I would be the way that I am. Because to him, it's like all women should be all women should be cut from the same cloth, view-wise, okay? But everybody has different reasons. I realized today that I have been jumping and running and trying to hide and protect myself all these years, not just in my work life. I'm talking about jobs and stuff. I know that their harassment and their bullying has been going on since childhood, okay? And that things intensified, now I think about it, when Jim Culligan, got married into the family. So I come from an abusive home, you know, home life. You know what I mean? Not necessarily physical abuse. Okay, I mean we did get spankings and stuff like that, but I don't think there were any. I don't know. I consider them mild, okay, but still nowadays I'm sure like child protective services would have been rolling up on my family's door because things are different now, okay. But back then, that was just how you dealt with kids, okay, because it was probably even worse in my parents' time, you know. So whatever, but uh, you know, we have a difference of opinions, okay, and he used his white privilege, his privilege to of influence, to get people on his side. Um, and then of course use religion as well. And so people were actually hiding their racism with religion because they don't want to hurt a, you know, they don't want to seem, you know, like they're racist if they do this particular thing, but we can use religion. Then my sister with her insecurity, my other ex-sister with her insecurity about, you know, um, her weight issues or whatever, then she gets together with some of the women that I worked with who happen to be overweight and start bullying on me. So being the scapegoat of the family can get pretty tiresome at times. You know what I mean? But you know, I realize what these people have done, and they infiltrated my life, violated my privacy. You know, and so I've already made a video about how I feel about that, and I mean it. Okay, but what I'm thinking about fanaticism, I see how dangerous it is, and what it really hides. You know, what it hides is the evil. It hides the evil. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, I have all the answers to the universe, or that, excuse me, that I have all the answers to the universe, or that I know everything. You know, I've been studying the Bible for a very long time. Okay, when I was growing up, I studied it. Okay, and you know, those, you know, spiritual issues have always been interesting to me, but that I could live like 300 years and I will never know everything. I won't. There's just, to me, the concept of God, universe, all of that stuff is so vast, and it's there's always something to learn. Okay, that's very precise. Okay, like things that are not necessarily vital or important to salvation, okay, but things that exist in the realm of heaven, okay, like angels have wings, do they not have wings, those kind of things. So those are little trivia type questions that are interesting, but they really don't make any difference as to whether we're going to go to heaven or hell, or some whatever, you know, those kind of things. But there's still a lot to learn, okay, there's still a lot to learn. And you know, I try to remain humble about those sort of things, and but I do know that when you have a very flashy, showy display of your religious beliefs, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible about how, you know, God talks about how He looks down on people who pray out loud, you know, or make this big tries to draw attention to their so-called devotion, because it's not sincere. It's not sincere. You know what I mean? I know that prosperity preaching was talked about. Kind of, I heard little buzzes about that throughout my targeting list. They were talking about prosperity preaching, you know, and I think that appeals to a lot of people. Our fleshly desires as a human being. People think about prosperity preaching because, number one, like I mentioned in so many of my other videos, to exist on this earth is hard. I mean, life is hard. We have to work hard, and then when we get to a certain point, then this bill comes, unexpected comes, you know, and then we have to devote time and energy to that, and so we got to start all over again, and it's like it's constant start and stop and then bullshit. And then you got things like relatives like mine, ex-relatives like mine, who come and knock your shit down before it even starts, okay? So it's hard, okay? So when you hear people who are preaching about this, you know, prosperity preaching type ideas, these thinking, this thought process, right? Whereas it's not necessarily like the story of Job, where Job endured all kinds of suffering, and showed his faithfulness to God, regardless of whether he got something or not, whether he was healed or not. He got tested. I mean, he got sick, lost his family, his livestock. He lost everything. Okay, but he still remained faithful. All right, but when people think about money, they think about easing this load that we have. Everybody has this load. We all have to go to work. We all got to deal with people who can mistreat us, piss us off. All these things that go on in our daily life that literally beat us down or whatever, and just continually oppress us or whatever, right? So we want these magic pills of where, prosperity preaching, and then it gets reinforced. These ideas get reinforced when you do this in a group, and then it's not just a group. The group was established to exclude me. It was done because my family, my ex-family, as well as Joel's family, started to realize that I truly did have value. Okay, I truly did have value. That they were actually bullying me the entire time. Okay, so they came to the realization that we were wrong, and that they felt a little threatened by who I am, who I really am. You know what I mean? What I mean I really am is, number one, my family doesn't really know me as an adult. They only know me through other people that I've worked with, maybe their little stupid covert so-called spying program that they've had and shit like that. But to have face-to-face, really understand, talk, we don't do that, okay? So they always know me through other people. As far as Joel's family, I don't really spend much time with Polly. You know what I mean? I don't really know her sisters. I don't want to. But still, they only know me, like touch and go. So when they see who I am, they're like, whoa, wait a second. They felt intimidated by me. So they tried to prove that they were better. And since they didn't have the intellectual abilities to prove that they were better, they had to put some system in place, which is genocidal, illegal, and wrong. Okay? All of them. I'm talking about my ex-family as well as Joel's family. So all I'm saying is that the religious aspect of it is funny. It's funny because a lot of people have it all wrong. They have it all wrong. I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I'm not. But their mindset is wrong. Like, in this situation, okay, I'm not saying Christians have it wrong. I'm saying is in this particular situation, what took place here, okay, was evil. And it was a direct, it was directly meant to make a statement. You know what I mean? And so instead of, Jim Culligan taking the time to, since he knew Joel's family, to maybe, let's set up a time so we can all talk together or whatever. No, this became a covert operation in order to, abuse me? And so that you didn't have to confront me face to face. So everything about this is cowardice. It just is, So I think anything that relates to fanaticism is it's a shield, it's a mask that we wear, to hide our insecurities, I would never, I've been divorced for over a year now. Okay, it's in November. Oh, we're heading towards December. Okay, a year and 2 months now, almost. Okay, and I've done videos about their family and how I don't want to be a part of it. So I've already brought up the whole issue about forced marriages and human trafficking. I've already mentioned that. Okay, I've already mentioned that. But the very idea that somebody would actually consult with this woman about my future prospects or whatever, after I've already said, and they know what she's doing. You know what I mean? That's really twisted. So sometimes racism blinds people to where they're willing to bend or cater to somebody, even though they're a criminal. But that skin looks like theirs, so they do these sort of things. You know what I mean? I'm not related to any of those people. I'm referring to the Graham clan. So my life going forward, you know, doesn't involve that sort of nonsense. Doesn't involve, insecure people wanting to outdo me. The reason why all this shit happened with all the, what do you call it? With all the employment agencies and stuff like that is because this illegal issue, and they don't belong in the first place. Polly should have nothing to do with my stuff. I'm not even married to her family anymore. You know what I mean? I had no idea that was his mother was his lover. That would never occur to me. Seriously. Like, I know so many people are sleeping on couches now. Even so-called educated people are sleeping on couches now in their mom's house. Like, people make jokes about them, calling them basement boys and cellar dwellers, which I thought was kind of funny, right? Basement boys, cellar dwellers. That's hilarious to me. But yeah, that's happening, I mean, things are hard. I mean, people talk about the cost of rent and stuff like that. So people live together. Okay, so I just figured that, I would have never guessed that in a million years. Because, see, when I was younger, I knew that some Christians did hypocritical things. I knew they did, okay? But most of the time, though, when people told me that they were Christian, in the back of my mind, I thought they lived by a certain set of standards. That's what it meant to me. Like, they wouldn't do certain things because of this particular conviction that they have. Kind of like how, I don't bend my shit because when I know that something's right, you're not going to get me to bend on it. You're not. I will bitch and talk about it, but you're not going to bend me. Because the reason why you're not going to bend me because I'm right about this issue. You know what I mean? I'm right about all of it. You know what I mean? Jim Colligan had no right. This whole thing was wrong, okay? But what was I talking about? I was talking about Polly and Joel. Like I said, that's different. That's a very different thing. I had no idea. But I believe that, I know when I first met her, he said to me, my mom never lies. And I mentioned this in the Manchurian Candidate video that I did, right? I mentioned that, all right? But still, in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, some people practice not to. You know what I mean? They just want to be upfront about everything, okay? And so that's what they do. So I figured maybe she was one of those people who did that. I didn't read into her very well. I didn't know her very well. You know what I mean? But I know she's lied to me. I know my sister's lied to me. My ex-sister's lied to me. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Christians don't slip up and lie. They do, okay? But when operations are based on lies, deceit, and then they try to use a Christian front to push it forward, it becomes kind of ridiculous, okay? I'm not bashing people who want to be in incestuous. It's not my thing, okay? I don't want it. You can't make me want it. It's not something that I'm going to sit there and ever get like, ooh, that's just something I got to have. I can't do that. I just can't. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, I would be bolting. I would run for the door. I would be like, no, please. Especially, I mean, I'm not attracted to that. I mean, it's weird to me. So I don't understand where that comes into the Christian lifestyle. It doesn't somehow fit in my little brain of wholesome family going to Disneyland and reading bedtime stories and just that goody two-shoe shit. It doesn't. Now, everybody has their standards, right? And so let it be that way. But I don't want to engage in that sort of stuff. And that should have been respected the very first time I did that video. But then you got this fanaticism again. You got this issue where people want to prove their point, force their point on somebody. And see, I look at my ex-family now and knowing and starting to remember certain things. And now I really thought about it and like, oh, I feel much better about saying what I had to say. Felt much better about it. I'm no longer married. I don't have to deal with these people. I don't want to deal with these people. You know what I mean? Okay, so they accomplished their goal of taking my what do you call it, career aspirations, because they thought it was my references are still my references. But my point is, I'm not going to go for those sort of jobs. I'm fine. I'm fine. I can do something else. I don't know what I'll do. You know what I mean? I'll use my skills somehow, not all of them, not the best of them, because, I have to take what I can get. But I'm not going to sit here and, no. I will not work another one of their jobs. I don't want to. So I'm just trying to figure my shit out. But it's not worth it to me to be in that family. I don't want to be in that family. Either side. And I don't want to hear they're sorry or whatever, just because they're not sorry. They're sorry that they got blown up in abortion. The tactics that were used in gang stalking and human trafficking are the same tactics that are used by the Ku Klux Klan. Now, I'm not sure if Jim Culligan he obviously does harbor racist ideas. And just because he made a mistake about my hair issue doesn't necessarily mean he's racist. But I do think that he's prejudiced. Like, he prejudges, or maybe he doesn't understand that black women's hair is different. It's different. It is, okay? This whole operation is ridiculous. It's like, I'm a black woman. Right now I'm wearing a beanie. This covers I braided the tiny little funny braids right here in the back so that I could put my half wig on, and then during the day, my hair in the back is a mess. It is. It wasn't a lie. I wasn't joking. And so they made this whole production over this issue of damaged hair, and it was a big production. Had neighbors spying in on you, and it was like, I never heard of anything so ridiculous. Am I supposed to be the debaucherous person? I'm not the debaucher. I'm not the one who's been, what do you call it? I'm not the one who's been shamed here. Okay? This man was with his mother. I was supposed to be made out to look like I was his mistress? Is that what it was? Because I would have no idea. All I know is we actually had a marriage license. He and I had a marriage license. A real marriage license. At one time. Okay, no, of course, it's null and void because I'm divorced. But, so, I never realized that him and his mom were together. Never. You know what I mean? And for some people to say, find out, or think, or believe that, or for her to tell a lie and say that I broke up their relationship, and people look at this relationship as valid, knowing that that was supposed to be his mother, even though he's adopted. Even though he's adopted, it makes you wonder how did that relationship start. Whatever the case is, she was right, I was wrong. Why? Because of the color of my skin. For no other reason. Oh, and they might also point out the fact because I wear a wig. I wear a wig because I have hair issues. You know what I mean? And don't give me this shit about, well, because you dress nice. I dress accordingly to wherever. Okay, and I also dress accordingly to my mood. That's one of the beauties of being a woman. You can be whatever you want to be as a woman. You can wear a sporty outfit one day and you can turn around the next day and you can look more glam if you want to. That's your choice. Okay, there's a whole section in each department store for women who do that sort of stuff, okay? But I look at other women, I see women walking in heels. I don't wear heels like that. You know what I mean? But all this was blown up into proportion because my ex-brother-in-law doesn't believe that women have any rights. So that's a little extreme. It's extremism. It's like, whereas other Christian people may not necessarily agree with those sort of things. You know what I mean? But whatever the case is, you don't have the right to impose your shit on me. You know what I mean? And you certainly don't have the right to impose your shit on me for me to sit here and as if you're trying to protect me from being with other people to preserve me for a man who's basically married to his mom and then drag me into all this bullshit. And his same mother who sat here and took my fucking, controlled my employment, all this other shit. Human trafficking. Hello. I think that some people people just need to mind their own damn business. And this is an issue that should have never been out in the public to begin with. From the get-go. Should never, ever been out in the public. But the reason why is the same reason why is because my family needs attention. Jim Culligan, my ex-family needs attention. Okay? Same reason why, I used to know people, and the same people that I used to know, somehow or another, are associated with my siblings. Because they need to control everything. It's a part of their little weird game. I was thinking, my God, that is strong demonic energy. Like the energy that went into this whole thing, it was horrible, absolutely horrible. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I'm just talking about it because it's like there was just stuff in my mind, and the issues of how things that I didn't like in the past. And one thing I'm going to tell you right now, I like spiritual people. I like people who have strong principles. I like people who believe that there's something more than they are and respect that. Okay? But going forward in my life, because I've had 48 years of fanaticism in one way or another. You know what I mean? I've had to deal with people that I did not want to deal with, but I had no choice because I was born into that family. I don't want to deal with that anymore. You know what I mean? And I mean, the Joel's family, I don't know them. I only met his Aunt Esther once. I don't even remember what his cousin or his aunt. I don't even know the difference. And I know people think maybe they're just upset because I never paid them any attention. I'm sorry I wasn't paying you any attention. I was too busy worrying about how they're going to fuck my job up, which they were doing in the first place. Some people just don't belong together. They don't belong together, and they shouldn't even like acknowledge one another. Don't even make eye contact. You know. And then I was also thinking about needy people, like needy people like I mentioned my ex-sister Tanya, fanatical, and who likes to be a parasite to other people. I was thinking about how demons come in. Like, I was reading about demonology. Because demons are very real, okay? Now, for people who serve God, who read the Bible, they know this is true, okay? Everyone, I don't care what background you're from, what country you're from, just everybody has their stories of demons. You know what I mean? And some people are plagued with demons. And when I think about the kind of shit that happened to me, this was very demonic. Very, very demonic. So demonic that it actually took on a physical form. So demonic that it affected my dreams many times. Which led me to kind of keep asking more questions and get more answers. Because I needed to know, what in the world is this evil, this shit that's affecting my life? And I understand that, there's a lot of imbalanced people, a lot of people who are living in the dark. They don't know the difference between right from wrong. They might belong to clubs and groups and have religious affiliations, but they don't even really know why they're members or why they belong. They might be doing it because their parents did it, but it doesn't mean anything to them. Just because something's a tradition doesn't mean it should mean something to you. You hope that it does. You know what I mean? Like if I had, I don't know, if I had a particular tradition, okay, like I had a thing that I ritualistically did every year, or whatever. Because I'm not like that, okay. But if I did, I think that's wonderful. But some traditions are useless. You know what I mean? If it doesn't serve you any purpose. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being in a particular region. That's not what I'm saying, okay? But if you find out, like my sister Tanya, and my ex-sister Tanya and her husband, this is not a religion. This is insecure, competitive people who are unhappy with their lives, trying to plow down someone and trying to find reasons in their sick, warped mind to justify why they did it. Okay, so I lied to my husband and told him something. Does that mean that I'm not supposed to be able to do anything? Does that mean I'm not able to work a job, or and how severe is that punishment, and why is it so severe? Okay? Why is it so severe? Because you must be a white supremacist. Because I certainly don't see anything a big deal about it. You know what I mean? The only reason why that would piss you off is if you think that you're superior and what? But anyway, that's my sister Tanya's problem, not mine. Because I didn't marry you. And if you infected Joel, that's not my problem either, because he's married you so long. I don't want to deal with you guys. I don't have time for your shit. You know what I mean? It's like you sucked up so much of my years, and it's like, over what? Over something you could have solved in a phone call if you really wanted to. You know what I mean? I remember bringing Joel over a few times. Like, why didn't you hit that conversation up then? Oh, but it's so much more fun to do it in public forum, right? Anyway, so it's the weekend, and it's like looking like it's gonna rain outside. I'm just kind of relaxing. I'm doing like mental exercises, writing things down, trying to separate myself from like the anxiety. I'm trying to get myself together, and then I will set sail and figure out what I'm going to do to pull myself out of this situation. You know what I mean? Because, and then I want to leave this behind. Period. It's already, I mean, I won't ever deal with these people again, okay? But I need to get off of their, I don't want to work for them anymore. I don't want their arranged jobs anymore. I don't want that shit, you know, which I mentioned before, okay? But how I'm going to do that, it's going to take me some time. So I'm taking some time off and figuring it out. But that is my first priority. That is my number one priority. Why? Because, you know, like I said, it's gone on too long. You know what I mean? It's gone on too long. Yes, I understand that these people who joined in with my dumb family have basically taken all good jobs. Why? Because they were trying to prove that they were better than me, so then they broke the law and did a bunch of criminal shit, and then threw religion in, and when you really think about it, it only proves that these people were evil to begin with, because there's really no justification for it. You know what I mean? I'm aware, okay? But I'm a hard worker, and I don't necessarily have to do management work. I wouldn't mind doing something similar, what I'm doing now, really, but if it just needs to be closer. You know what I mean? And I do need to make more hours. I need more fulfillment in my life. This is what I need to do. I can't work part-time, you know? It's just not for me, you know? So I need more hours. But that's my thing. And I don't want to work with these people, you know? It's just, you know, you meet up with an employer, you talk to them, hey, this is what I can do for you, and blah, blah, blah. It has to be that way, you know? And shouldn't be where, you know, I go in and they sit there and talk to Polly about, you know, how Polly got me this job at a news station one time. And so Polly thinks, no one gets contacted. It's really between me and the employer. Okay. As it should be, you know? And that's all I want. I just want to get on with my life. You know, I feel as though all the years that this has taken it off of me, taken years off my life. It has. It's taken years out of my life, I should say. You know, I think about the disasters that have been caused, and then their need to, once again, this is a part of the scapegoating thing, blame me for what they've done. That's their fault. This whole thing, I'm like, this whole thing. I can say I will take responsibility for lying to my husband. My ex-husband. I will do that. I will take full responsibility. That was a really childish thing to do. Shame on me. Okay? But what you guys did was just completely unjustifiable. Unjustifiable. And no point behind it. And it's really none of your business. You know what I mean? Truth be told, I could have told people that I was the Queen of England if I wanted to. And it would not justify doing this. You know what I mean? So what really is it? Is, you know, I'm dealing with the whole scapegoating issue. And so I care not to deal with it anymore. I've dealt with it long enough. You know, if you wanted your revenge, you got your revenge. You got my job. Okay, so feel good about yourself, and, you know, talk in your social circles. Now you can sit there and try to plot and tear someone else's job apart. That's what you guys do. You know what I mean? That's what good Christian folks do. That's a joke. Okay, they're not Christian people, but you know certain Christians who do that sort of stuff. Right? Anyway, wrapping up this video. Be back with another video later.